Yo, I'm gonna get straight to the point with this video. This is the most comprehensive Magneto guide that you'll find on YouTube. I'm currently Celestial ranked, and I'm gonna be breaking down everything you need to know in order to successfully master the hero, which will help you in turn just become a better teammate overall. We're gonna discuss skill set, what his abilities do, when to effectively use them, some playstyle tips, great team comps, enemies to avoid, and general Magneto FAQ at the end. Make sure to check the timestamps if you're looking for some specific tips. All right, let's get into it. Magneto has a unique skill set, even when compared to his closest counterpart tank, which is Doctor Strange. You want to think of Magneto as the absolute iron wall. You want to do everything you can as Magneto to push for and maintain space on the battlefield. This is slightly different than the role that Doctor Strange plays because of their difference in mobility. Strange can usually overextend slightly and fly back, whereas Magneto doesn't have the same capabilities because he has no movement-based abilities. Let's break down his abilities, and I have a few extra tips for you if you play mouse and keyboard. Magneto's main attack is his Iron Volley. This attack has about a range of 30 meters and has an explosive AoE, so it'll damage enemies close to where your bullets land even if you don't hit them directly. This means that if you see someone that's 1 HP, if you absolutely cannot hit them with a direct shot, just shoot the ground near them and they'll die. Direct impacts deal more damage, but sometimes AoE damage can be more effective for securing low HP enemy kills. Next is his Mag Cannon, or his Force Push. Magneto has this unique ability that charges over time and has 2 phases. If you use the Force Push before the 3 arrows are fully charged, it will damage your enemy. But if you wait until the Force Push is completely charged, it will knock your enemy back and damage them, proving to be more effective. Also, one more thing that a lot of people don't know about this ability: you can charge your Force Push back by taking damage with Magneto's bubble. It doesn't matter how quickly you use the abilities either, so you can Force Push, take damage with the bubble, then immediately Force Push again. His Force Push has unlimited range as well, so it's good for those enemies that are just out of his 30-meter attack range. Now, let's talk about his bubble. Magneto's bubble is an incredibly clutch feature that you can use to either completely shield yourself or one of your teammates in a dire situation. His personal bubble is called Iron Bulwark, and his team bubble is called Metal Bulwark. These two utilize the same cooldown though, meaning you can only use one at a time before having a relatively long cooldown, so they are essentially the same ability. His last main ability is his Metallic Curtain Shield. Magneto's Metallic Curtain Shield has a relatively short cooldown, and it can deflect any incoming projectiles for a short period of time. It's hard to say exactly when the best time to use his shield is, but you want to use his shield and bubbles in succession. Rotate using them to make sure you almost always have at least one shielding ability available. Now, Magneto's ultimate ability explained. Magneto's Meteor M is a giant metallic forged ball that eats all incoming projectiles up to a certain point and can be best used to help counter enemy ultimate abilities. His Meteor M charges as it eats incoming projectiles within this purple field around him, so it will get stronger the longer you hold it, but it also has a breaking point, rendering it useless after absorbing a specific amount of damage. In order to get the most utility out of his Meteor, you want to focus on countering 2 specific situations: throwing the Meteor at a healer to shut down their ult, and popping your ult to absorb projectiles from enemy DPS ults, like Punisher ult, Star-Lord, or even Hela. You can essentially eat majority of their incoming damage up to a certain point, then throw your ult into the enemy team to make it even more effective. And finally, he has a passive ability that allows him to fall slowly from high places. Now, there are a few mistakes that you want to avoid when casting Magneto's abilities just to get the most effect out of them possible. First, the most common mistake is using his bubble and his main shield at the same time. If you pop both of these abilities at the exact same time, you will be liable to take a lot of incoming damage directly to the face for the next like 10 full seconds. Also, if you use shield and bubble at the same time, his shield will actually block his bubble from taking any damage, so you won't charge your Force Push again. Next, throwing his ultimate ability before it's had time to charge is something you want to try to avoid. If you throw Magneto's ultimate ability as soon as you get it, it will be very ineffective and do very little damage. His ultimate ability needs at least a second or 2 in order to charge. Otherwise, it won't even be able to one-shot a strategist. Okay, now that you have a decent understanding of how his abilities are used, let's dive a little bit more in depth into some of his best team-ups. Magneto is a great solo tank, yes. Honestly, equally as good as Doctor Strange in many cases, and maybe even better. So he works relatively well with majority of the tanks in the game easily. Some of his best team-ups actually come from how he can use his medium range to assist dive characters in the backline. He's the only tank with an infinite range attack, his Mag Cannon, and he can bubble his teammates that are diving in the backline, which can help them substantially in regards to their survivability when trying to get a pick. Both of these abilities help immensely when it comes to assisting backline players, all while being able to simultaneously use a defense shield to support your own team's backline. So heroes like Black Panther, Hulk, Thor, Magic, and even Psylocke definitely pair well with Magneto. Now, Magneto does have an in-game power-up called Metallic Chaos, where he teams up with Scarlet Witch to gain an extra ability. This team-up ability grants him a Chaos Energy Sword, which makes his melee a swingable weapon that does ranged attacks as well. This team-up is relatively good, but Scarlet Witch is unfortunately one of the worst heroes in the game as of right now, so I typically would not recommend using this power-up in games past Plat and Diamond. It won't help you much having a Scarlet Witch on your team against decent players. Now, Magneto is a really great matchup against a lot of characters in the game, mainly because he is just a stone cold wall, but he does have a few characters that can prove to be pretty annoying to fight against. Hulk, Namor, Wolverine, and Moon Knight are going to most likely be difficult enemies to fight against. Hulk has a ton of mobility, which is just the complete antithesis of Magneto's kit, so it's going to be incredibly difficult to kill a Hulk player solo as Magneto, especially because of Magneto's relatively low damage output and Hulk's high HP cap. Magneto is not the best tank to fight other tanks with. Namor's squids have a higher range than Magneto's normal attack skill, so you will most likely just constantly get pelted by those. Also, Namor's invulnerable ability allows him to reposition very well against someone like Magneto, who just simply can't chase an ability like that. Wolverine is just the absolute anti-hero to all tank mains, so honestly, any tank is directly threatened by his existence on the battlefield, and Moon Knight's ultimate ability cannot be blocked by Magneto's main shield, so getting ulted by Moon Knight will almost always do a ton of damage to you on Magneto, especially if you get caught in the middle of it without your personal bubble. Alright, that pretty much wraps up the main part of this guide. So far, we've covered what Magneto's abilities are, when to use them, some effective playstyle tips, we've covered combos to help maximize your ability effectiveness, some mistakes to avoid when using his abilities, great team comps, enemy players to look out for, and now we have a little bit of FAQ to cover. First question, who is the better shield tank, Magneto or Strange? This is an extremely hard question that I struggle with even as a Celestial ranked player, because Magneto has insane impact when it comes to holding a line. He can create an incredible amount of space for your team, and his ultimate ability directly counters both Luna and Cloak and Dagger, two of the best ults in the game, unlike Doctor Strange. But Strange is great in specific scenarios, like blocking Hela's ult or playing aggressive more so than Magneto is. Overall, because Strange is simply more suitable in different situations, he might have the slight edge, but as a core tank for damage mitigation and space, Magneto is certainly better. Next question, what's the best way to use Magneto ult? The clear best way to use Magneto ult is to counter ultimate abilities. You can eat all of Star-Lord's incoming damage when he ults, eat Punisher's ultimate ability, then throw Magneto's meteor right back at him. You can have your team break Luna's overshield, then kill her through her ult, shut down a Mantis, Cloak and Dagger, basically just nuke majority of the ults in the game, which makes him a huge playmaker. Alright, that's pretty much all I have for you guys today. If you enjoy gaming content and updates, make sure to subscribe for daily uploads. I've been doing a lot of guides like this as a Celestial ranked player, so let me know who you'd want to see in the next video down below in the comments. Much love, goats, and thanks for joining me in the dojo.